Good morning friends. I hope everyone is doing well. In the earlier video, we have discussed how to convert a Mealy mission to a Mori mission with an example. For better understanding, I have taken another example and this Mealy mission we will convert into a equivalent Mori mission. Now we will see whether it is first we need to check whether the given question is a Mealy mission or not. If it should be a Mealy mission, it should be a DFA. Now before that I want to find out what are the input alphabets are there and what are the output alphabets are there. If you see that input alphabets are 0, 1, okay, and your output alphabets are also 0, 1 because from Q0 on 0 and 1 you have a transitions. So your input alphabets are 0, 1 and for 0 it is producing output as 0, for 1 it is producing output as 1. So everywhere it is producing either 1 output or 0 output. So the output alphabets are 0, 1, input alphabets are 0, 1. Now we need to check whether it is a deterministic finite automata or not. Then we will go for Mealy mission because all the Mealy missions and Mori missions they are deterministic in nature. So from Q0 on 0 you have a move, on 1 you have a move. Now come to Q1. Q1 on 0 you have a move, on 1 you have a move. So it is deterministic. Now whether it is a Mealy mission or not. When it can be a Mealy mission? If it is on a state Q, by taking an alphabet, it should produce an output. Am I right? If you see that Q0 on 0, it is producing an output as 0. So it is satisfying. Q0 on 1, it is producing output as 1. Q1 on 0, it is producing an output. Q1 on 1 it is producing an output 0. So it is satisfying the properties of a Mealy mission. Now we want to convert the given Mealy mission to a Mori mission. Now if you see this Mealy mission, can you tell me what is this Mealy mission? This Mealy mission we have already discussed. It is used to compute the 2's complement of a binder number. If you want to verify, you can verify it. 1100. I will traverse the string from left to right. So from I am in the initial state Q0, okay, Q0 on 0 it is producing output as 0, on again 0 it will produce the output as 0 because whenever you are calculating the 2's complement, first how many zeros comes you will keep it as zeros, the first one you will keep it as 1. If you see that Q0 on 1 you are keeping it as output as 1 and you are going to the next state called Q1. Now Q1 on 1 you will keep 0. Why? Once you see the first one, whatever comes after that, you have to calculate the 1's complement of it. So this is the 2's complement of the given number. Okay. So those who have watched my earlier videos, they can easily identify that it is a 2's complement number. If you does not watch, just for recognizing, I have told that it is a 2's complement. It is used for 2's complement calculation for a binder number. Now we will see how to convert the given Mealy mission to a Mori mission. Now what is the output function of a Mori mission? For each state you will have an output. Okay. So with this introduction we will convert the given Mealy mission to a Mori mission. So I am in the state Q0. It on 0. Q0 on 0 it is going to Q0, Q0 on input alphabet 0 it is going to Q0 and it is producing output as 0 and it is producing output as 0. Now Q0 on 1 is going to Q1 and it is producing output as 1. So you have to keep a state called Q1 and it produces output as 1. Now if you see that, so Q0 on 0 and 1 we have a transition. Now come to Q1. Q1 on 0. Q1 on 0 is going to Q1 and it is producing output as 1. So this is a state which is going to Q1 and producing output as 0. So on 0 we have done. Now we'll come to on 1. Q1 on 1 is going to Q1. Q1 on 1 it is going to Q1. But it is producing output as 0. But this state is producing output as 1. So it is not correct. So what we have to do? We have to take a new state. On 1, you have to go to Q1 and produce the output as 0. Now please remember one thing. These two are two different states. maybe the name of the states are Q1, but this is producing output as 1 and this state is producing output as 0. So I can say that these two states are different. Okay. Now we will see Q1 on 0 and 1 is finished. Now from this state on 0 and 1 what will happen, we have to see. Why we have to worry? Because first it should satisfy the deterministic finite automata properties, because whether it is a Mealy machine or Mori machine, they are deterministic in nature. So from Q1 on 0, where it is going, Q1 on 0, it is going to Q1 which is producing output as 1. This state is producing output as 0, this state is producing output as 1. So Q1 on 0, you should go to Q1 which produce output as 1. So this is the state. Now if you see that Q1 on 1, it is going to Q1 which produce output as 0. So Q1 on 1, you will go to Q1 which produce output as 0. Now we will see whether it is completed or not. Q0 on 0, you have a move, on 1 you have a move. Q1 on 1 state, you have a 0 move, on 1 you have a move. Now Q1 on 0 you have a move, on 1 you have a move. Any new state you are getting? No. So I can say that this is the equivalent Mori mission for the given Mealy mission. So with these two examples, whatever in previous video I have taken one example, in this video I have discussed about another example. So I hope with these two examples you have cleared about, or you have learned about how to convert a given Mealy mission to a Mori mission. Okay, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask it in the comment section. Within 24 hours I will clear your doubts. Thank you for watching my video, and I request you to subscribe my channel for regular updates.